Welcome to DisruptED TV. My name is Dr. Tracy Severns, and I have the good fortune of being with Brad Currie today. Now, help me, is it doctor?
Not yet. No,
Not yet.
Someday.
Soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
With Brad Currie here today, and we're going to have a conversation about some exciting opportunities that are taking place in education. So, thank you for joining us today. Why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing currently in Chester, and some of the work that you do independently as well.
Well, thank you for having me here today on DisruptED TV, Tracy. I'm honored. It's a privilege. I am the Director of Planning, Research, and Evaluation for the Chester School District in Chester, New Jersey. Been there for 6 years. In my spare time, I'm the founding partner of Evolving Educators. And from time to time, I also guest moderate, co-moderate a Twitter chat called Sat Chat on Twitter every Saturday morning, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I'm a busy guy, but it's all good things, and just trying to help educators and help kids.
All right, so well, you've piqued my interest with the Saturday morning Twitter. Saturday morning, 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
How many educators do you get up and involved at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday?
Well, believe it or not, we have over 300 educators every Saturday morning.
Wow.
Give or take a few come on to Sat Chat, come on to the hashtag on Twitter, and share their insight on the topic of the day. And it's just a great way to kind of start the weekend and kind of get refreshed for the upcoming school week. It started about 6-7 years ago. I first got onto Twitter and I connected with Scott Rocco, Dr. Scott Rocco, who's now the superintendent in the Hamilton School District. We kind of crossed paths at the ASCD conference in Philadelphia, and about a month after that, he reached out to me on Twitter. He's like, "Hey, let's start a chat." I'm like, okay, and when should it be, and what who should be in it, and that kind of thing. And so we decided on Saturday at 7:30 because we believed at that point in time that the kids would still be in bed and that parents would have an opportunity to kind of wake up and have a cup of coffee and share their insight on Twitter. That was before I had two children. I had two children, but they were younger, but now they're up really early, so it is kind of tough to kind of have that Twitter chat, but we do it anyway, and it's been going on for about 6 years strong now, and we're just happy to have people on sharing their insight on a variety of topics, whether it's at the classroom, district, or school level, and it helps me out as an educator, and it helps everybody out. And over the years, we brought on Billy Krakauer, who is a teacher, and his insight's tremendous. So Billy, Scott, and I plan this each and every week. 52 weeks, so we never take a break, really.
Wow.
It's a great thing, and we don't get paid for it either. And
okay.
So, but it's a good thing all around, and we help people out.
So how do you select the topics?
So we have guest moderators probably twice a month, and we give them the freedom to kind of bring in their own, so whether it's social emotional learning, leadership, school safety, innovation, we have a wide array of topics, and we put it out there for people to give us ideas as well. And so we kind of have our pulse on the educational world, and we kind of try to tap into that as well, because we want the topic to be interesting and the people to share their insight. Because we really believe that every tweet that's put out there will impact another person, and they could bring that idea back into their classroom, school, or district, and not only help themselves as an educator, but help their colleagues and the students. Wow. And so that's what we really believe. Everybody has something great to share.
Yes, and so you're really expanding that conversation by inviting people to come in. Your topics are timely, are relevant, are important, and the tribute to, or the real testament to the degree to which you're touching on something that's very meaningful to people is that degree of involvement at that early hour of the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's really remarkable.
Yeah, it's just a great experience. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that. Setting up the questions, finding the topics, making sure the moderators are on point and understand what their roles are. We have people from all over the country, all over the world. Last week we had participants from Canada, from California, believe it or not, at 4:30 in the morning, from Australia, from the United Arab Emirates. So it's just amazing the perspective and the insight on topics, right? Because you think a topic is one thing in your neck of the woods, but it's a totally different thing in some other part of the world. And so that really helps not only myself, but others kind of think about things globally. Because you sometimes just focus on your own educational environment, but we forget that there's an entire world out there of educators and students. So
yeah, and you're really completely unencumbered by time, by physical space. You don't have to get people to arrive. The fact that you can do that in the Twitter sphere, as it's called, really makes that something that's accessible to everyone, and as you say, from everywhere.
yeah, that's the great thing about Twitter. So they could come on for the entire hour. They could come on for 5 minutes. Or if they miss it, they can come back and look at the archive. We actually archive all of the thousands of tweets each week on a website called participate.com. And so it's a little sat chat community on participate.com where people can go back and look at the archive of tweets and pull a couple tweets and make their own collections, and kind of it's kind of professional development at your fingertips. So.
Wow. So to what degree do you think your involvement in the Saturday Twitter chats was a part of your recent recognition? So I understand that big congratulations are in order, that
Thank
you
you.
were vice principal of the world, or something like that. Vice principal of the world,
Yeah.
of the New Jersey, of the nation. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so initially it was I put in for the vice principal of the year for New Jersey, and then I was shocked to receive that honor, and so the next step is you put in to become the national assistant principal of the year, and sure enough, I made it through the process. And I got the phone call from Joanne Bartoletti at NASSP headquarters, and she said, "Congratulations, Brad, you're the national." So, and then I thought it was a great platform because I'm kind of an outlier, unique in a way where using technology and social media as a way to help me evolve as an educator through Twitter chats and things, but also to come in contact with great ideas. Right, that's the main reason why I like being connected on social media, is because everybody has something great to share, and I can kind of take their ideas and make them our own, and help kids out and help teachers out in our own district. And so, being on a national stage now is kind of a neat thing. I continue to help move the conversation forward and focus on the positive. When unfortunate things do arise, kind of give perspective on that, and kind of, again, gear people towards the positive of whatever that situation may be. We know there are negative situations, and there are reasons for those, but let's kind of learn from that and move on, and what can we do better the next time. And it's just great to kind of help our district out, be on the national stage, and just help other leaders around the world, around the country, understand the importance of social media and technology when you're in a leadership position. And it goes well with the other things, in terms of connecting with people, in terms of pedagogically sound curriculum and teaching, and having those conversations. And so you couple all those things together, it's definitely helps everybody out.
Wow, and it sounds like you really have blended all of the experiences that you've had together in a way that has created kind of a really meaningful and purposeful connection to the very real work that educators are doing. And I want to congratulate you on that honor and distinction, well deserved. And it sounds like you're doing great things with it. And you talked about having that opportunity to address a broader audience, if you will, of a wide variety of people, even across the globe, and to focus on the good news that's out there, to focus on the great things that educators are doing. So as you think about that, what are some of the messages that you would like to share about the great work that educators are doing?
Yeah, it goes back to telling your story, to branding, and another aspect of social media and Twitter is to kind of tell your story, whether it's your classroom, school, or district. And I first became aware of this kind of concept years ago. In 2011, I attended the NJPSA Fall Conference, and it was the second day of the conference, And during those days, you had to sign up for pre-register for certain sessions. And I was pre-registered for some session on like discipline or something. But at the last second, I said, you know what? I want to go to this session on social media and PLNs. And Eric Scheninger was the session speaker. And from that point forward, my whole mindset changed. And at that point in time, I was in Reddington Middle School in Reddington Township, New Jersey. And we started a school Twitter handle, and we began to tell our stories through Twitter. I would go into classrooms and kind of capture the experiences. And then I brought that with me to Black River Middle School in Chester, and we continued that on the Twitter handle for Black River Middle School. And then we created a hashtag, WeAreChesterNJ. And now my district role as Director of Planning, Research, and Evaluation, I can kind of tell our district story through that hashtag, through our Facebook and Twitter handles. And it's just a great thing to go into classrooms and see the great things that our teachers are doing, taking risks with and without technology, connecting with kids, and then share that with the world, not only with the community, but with the world. And your hope is that other districts, other elementary schools, middle schools can see, hey, look what Chester's doing. Maybe we can kind of make that our own and help our teachers and students out in our own district, our own buildings. And that's what it's all about. To me, it's about sharing, it's about networking, and just helping each other out. It's real simple. Sometimes it gets lost in translation.
Yes, spread the wealth, so to speak, really to talk about the successes. And I've always believed that if you're not telling your story, someone else will tell it for you. And I can guarantee it won't be in the form, or it won't be the message that you would like told.
Correct.
So you are shaping your own narrative, and you're creating a public perception, which could build a sense of pride in the community. People like a winner. So I find that when parents know what's going on in the school, that they are able to support it, that they back their educators, their teachers, their leaders, and they're there to be the support that we look for them to be.
Yeah, and as a parent in the Flemington-Raritan School District, I appreciate the schools, the district, and the teachers, more importantly, for tweeting from their classrooms. Because now I can have that conversation with my son or daughter at home. I'm kind of armed with information, right? I can say, hey, I saw what you guys are doing in science class or second grade or first grade or what have you. So it's kind of neat to kind of have that information just by simply going on to Twitter and seeing the pictures that are posted and the information that's posted. And that kind of keeps me in the loop. And so I understand that, and so I want to have that same sort of impact in Chester, right? So parents can stay in the loop, other students, other teachers can see what's going on, and so everybody's on the same page. We should try to create that foundation.
What would you say to the teachers and leaders and parents who are fearful? Because some, I find that when it comes to social media, they tend to take one of two routes. One is they try to lock it down. Let's keep the cell phones out. Let's keep, we don't have a Facebook. We don't have Twitter. Let's try to control the messaging by making it not available. Others have really capitalized on that social media platform and the various ways that you can reach that broad audience, and they have kind of opened the doors to those conversations. So what would you say to the people who say, I get the upside and it's exciting, I would like to do it, but what do you say to the people who are fearful of what may happen when you use social media to tell your story?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to connect with people in the physical world, right? You need to have that relationship for any of the technology to actually work, the social media to actually work. So that's first and foremost. But I think start small. Look at something like Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook now. So maybe you start with a Facebook page, and you start with just basic information that you would put on your website or your app. Put it onto Facebook. All right. So that's not rocket science. It's actually, people appreciate that, because sometimes, especially for me, I like to find information on my phone, maybe on a Facebook page or on a Twitter feed, not on a website. I'm not going to visit the school website to find information. So start that way. And then over time, you'll see that people really appreciate the information you're putting out there. Then say, all right, now I'm going to post a picture from a classroom of a learning experience that's going on. And then you'll see over time the number of likes go up, the number of people that are following your Twitter feed or Facebook page or even Instagram page goes up as well. And then it just goes from there. And it's just, people appreciate it. People want information at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to do, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. And you just got to kind of stick with it, start small, and then expand out over the years.
So I'm sure in doing this work that you are not the sole storyteller, that everything doesn't necessarily come to or through you. And this, in my mind, is connecting to one of the other things that we talked about earlier that you shared is important to you, which is involving, is including educators in a really meaningful way. So have you brought teachers into this process so that they're tweeting out also, or does everything kind of go through you?
So initially on the onset, 6-7 years ago, it was primarily me. Then I think others, kind of said, hey, you know what, Brad's trying it. Why don't I try it? Whether it's in my classroom or my school, and that we have, I would say we have a good chunk of staff members in all 3 buildings using social media, particularly Twitter, to tell their story. We actually have a contest, We Are Chester NJ contest this school year to see which teacher can tweet out the most from their classrooms. And so it's going well. It's winding down now, so I go through and kind of count all the tweets. But it's a good thing. And
so what's the prize? I have to know. What's the prize
it's going to be a signed copy of my book, 140 Twitter Tips for Educators.
Well, that's worth tweeting about.
But no, there's some nice prizes, some books, some gift cards.
What they want is the close parking spot.
Yes.
That's what they want.
Well, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that.
They want that
And I'll put like a Twitter symbol or maybe the hashtag.
Yes, that would be great.
See, look at that. That's a good idea. That's the one takeaway from this interview.
Sign, yeah.
I like that. That's actually a pretty good idea. But it's what the hashtag has done. We Are Chester NJ, is kind of brought not only the teachers together, the staff together as a virtual community, but the entire Chester community together. And at any given point in time, you can go onto that hashtag and see what's going on at Dickerson Elementary School, at Bragg Elementary School, or Black River. So it's pretty neat. We're not separate schools. We're together, and even the district. The district will tweet and use that hashtag. And so, last week we had realtors come in for a realtor presentation. And they're like, how can people find out about the schools here in Chester? I said, the hashtag, We Are Chester NJ. At any given point in time, you can go onto that hashtag and you can see as a parent, maybe you're thinking about moving to Chester, hey, this is a great place to be, to raise our children, to learn, because I can see what's going on in the classrooms firsthand through Twitter and through the hashtag.
Wow. So when it comes to, so we've talked a lot about Twitter and social media. Let's talk a little bit more broadly about technology, because I know you've done some really important work in that area. Tell us about some of the opportunities that exist in leveraging technology to really engage our young people.
Absolutely. We are a 1-to-1 Chromebook district, grades 2 through 8, which is unique. And you take that 1-to-1 environment and couple it with the incredible teachers that we have. It's something special, and it really goes back to focusing on students creating their learning experiences using technology and giving them choices, right? So instead of every child's going to create a Google slide presentation, well, let's give them choices. Maybe one student wants to use that Chromebook to create a podcast or a screencast. Maybe another child does want to create a Google slide presentation. Maybe the child doesn't want to use technology at all, so we have to give them that option as well. So I think it goes back to hooking the kids into whatever's being taught. Then, all right, how are they going to show what they know using or not using technology? And we have incredible technology coaches in all of our buildings. It's something we started 3 or 4 years ago. And they do a phenomenal job of supporting our teachers and students with integrating technology in meaningful ways. Not just, all right, let's fill out a glorified worksheet online. No, let's be creators, Whether it's designing something on a program to be printed out on a 3D printer, whether it's creating a video online and editing that video, whether it's coding a program, whether it's collaborating in real time on a Google Doc or a Google Slide presentation. All right, that's something that's maybe it's not a big deal, but yeah, it is. And when the kids are talking to each other in real time, whether in the same room or different rooms or in different locations, and working on a final product and edits. But we also really want to focus on is feedback with technology. You look at John Hattie, the research of John Hattie, visible learning. One of the top impacts on learning is feedback. I think it's a 0.70.
0.72.
0.72, I'm sorry.
I happen to know that.
There you go. That's on learning. And using like Google Docs, a very simple thing like Google Docs. We have a phenomenal teacher in our 6th grade, Diane Bassanese, who leverages the power of Google Docs to provide real-time feedback on essays, on writing assignments. So there are no surprises. Gone are the days where you assign something, right? And then a month later, you get feedback. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
There should be no surprises. When the kids are done with their assignment, they should know it should be complete, it should be in great shape, and they should know what their grade is, plain and simple. And so we're really making steps toward doing that across the board, and we've done some tremendous things, but just like everybody else, there's always room for improvement, and we're just going to continue to do bigger and better things with and without technology. But I really believe it's one of the most exciting times in education because of the opportunities we now have with technology and with the support that we have in place in our district to ensure that teachers can impact students the right way, whether it's with our technology coaches or with our instructional coaches. We have a reading coach and a math coach as well, and they all come together to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work, and how can we move forward in a positive direction.
There's so many things that you said that I would love to talk more about. The idea of the coaches, because for all of these years in education, we've talked about the achievement gap, which I think is largely an implementation gap. So what I'm hearing you say is you have coaches who I think are so pivotal in closing that knowing-doing gap. So for too long in technology, we had technicians, but they knew how to jiggle the cord and make the systems work, but they didn't necessarily know how to actualize the use of the technology in an instructional space in a meaningful way. So we needed, that was a new job, so to speak, that really needed to be developed, is how to help practitioners understand and utilize the technology to advance student learning. So that is extraordinary. And I'm hearing you say that you have coaches in other areas as well. And I love the idea also of connecting the using the technology to expedite the feedback process. Because for those unfamiliar with John Hattie's work, what we know about a 0.72 effect size is it's the equivalent of about 2 years growth in 1 year's time. And if you look at an area that I think we do quite poorly in education, it's to provide timely, constructive, actionable feedback. No one has ever improved on the basis of a stinky sticker or a check minus. Like, what we need is, okay, what did I do well? What do I need to do better? And the technology, as I'm hearing it, really is doing two things. One is the teacher is able to provide quality feedback in a more expeditious fashion. But otherwise, the other place is technology is so real and authentic. There's genuine feedback that comes just because, let's say you put something out there and it's not very good, you're not going to get a big response. You put something out there and it's really good, it's going to start to just go crazy. So you're always getting real feedback from a genuine, authentic audience. And kids value that. They learn that. They don't view that as something from the teacher. That's what I put out there and how the world is responding to me, which is just extraordinary. It creates that real purpose for learning that goes far beyond because the teacher said to, and if I don't, I get a consequence or a poor grade.
Yeah, it's about feedback and it's about voice, right? Whether it's a teacher voice or the student voice. A tool that we use, some of our teachers use, is Flipgrid, right? So it's a video-based response system. So you create this virtual classroom, and teachers post a question in their own face, right? And then students from anywhere in the world, as long as they have the device and the internet access, can respond to that question. And it gives that reluctant student who's reluctant to raise their hand in class an opportunity to raise their hand virtually,
Yes.
and share their insight, and to be able to hear their voice is pretty special. And so, whether it's feedback or voice, there's so many great things that we can do with technology, and we haven't even gotten that far yet with it. I mean, I think 5, 10, 15 years down the road, it's going to be amazing what we can do with technology to not only impact educators, but to impact the success of students.
Absolutely. And it's just the idea of voice and choice together is something that is made possible through technology in ways that isn't, I don't think, in a traditional classroom.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing such an optimistic message. I think certainly anyone listening has all kinds of ideas to go back to their district, to work with their students, as a parent, to go to their schools and invite all of the participants in that learning community to become a part of that bigger conversation that certainly technology helps make possible. And when we do that alongside our educators, involving educators as you believe, that's when it gets even more traction, even more powerful and impactful.
Absolutely.
So I want to, again, thank you again for joining me in this conversation. Congratulate you again on your outstanding achievement. That's really notable. And I'd like to invite you to look into the camera and let people know how they could reach you if they would like to continue this conversation.
You can reach me on Twitter at @TheBradCurrie. You can follow my website and blog at www.thebradcurrie.com. And check out our wonderful school district, Chester School District hashtag, #WeAreChesterNJ.
All right, thank you. And thank you. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of this exciting conversation on DisruptED TV. My name is Dr. Tracy Severns, and I look forward to talking with you again.